All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another little training vlog. If you're here for the title or the information in the thumbnail specifically, use the timestamps below. And if you want to know how to win a free CBB t-shirt or a free month of the training app, stick around for our word of the day, question of the day segment in a little bit. Until then, we are 43 days from Westerns. We're getting pretty close. We're getting pretty close. This is, I believe, the second last week of this block, and I will have one more block to peak for the competition. So needless to say, the weights are getting a little heavier, the pressure's getting a little higher, but my body's holding up. Mentally, I'm still feeling okay. Yeah, I think overall we're in a pretty good spot. I'm hoping that everything comes back online. My shoulder slipped and fell after my workout last weekend. So last Friday, a week back from today, shoulder was starting to feel a lot better. It was really starting to feel a lot better. Slipped on some ice, fell down and jammed it up. And it's been pretty sensitive since then. Really a bit of an annoying setback. But we've been able to continue to progress this week. Actually, bench strength and coordination has been feeling better and better. But let's start at the start. So the squat up to 280 this week, and I think still moving well within that range of about at 7. I think probably a little bit slower than the 272 I did last week, but execution felt good. The weight felt good on my back, and by the time I was done the back offs, 220s for 5, I was like feeling like I could throw that off my back. 225. Feeling like an absolute joke again, I think is probably one of the best indicators of my squat strength and the comfort of squat coming along really, really well this block. Knee held up super well from the squat day. Bench that day up to 182.5, if I'm not mistaken. So first time over the old 4 bills again. And it was not as fast as I would have liked. Again, still regaining some strength, some skill on the bench, but it is coming. Was able to go up 2.5 on my set of 6. It was hard as hell again, but it was hard as hell with 2.5 kilos less last week. So can't argue with that. And we got a comp deadlift exposure this week. So bumped that up from 315, the previous exposure, to 322.5 this time. And it actually, I think, moved a bit better than the 315. Also, this was Wednesday, so 2 days ago, I did 4 sets of 4 at 270. And at the time, I was thinking, damn, this is sweet. I haven't pushed volume in this like 270 and up range. And yes, a 4x4 for old broken me is volume. I was pretty happy about it. Felt really good, felt snappy. I got to deadlift with Danny, who's training for the Arnold in the UK, and then on to Equipped Worlds for her. And it was a really good overall session. Wednesday, I was ruined, like cripplingly sore. On the plus side, my left quad was very sore for the first time, I think, in like a year and a half. So I'm getting to the point where not only can I push through that left leg, but I can do enough pushing through that left leg to actually make the quad sore before the knee gets super pissed. So my knee was and has been a little bit stiff for the past few days, a little inflamed, but I think given the fact that I've really ratcheted up the amount of work I'm doing on it, that's pretty understandable. Today we'll probably get into some belt squats, pin press, bench against bands, some of that kind of stuff. I had an exposure yesterday on my bench that I don't think I've had yet this block. So I benched against bands and did dips, and man, do I love dips. Even with my shoulders feeling kind of really fragile and picky about what they're willing to go through, dips just feel so good. I love dips. Anyways, that's training pretty much. I'm gonna need probably 320 to 330. I'm gonna need 205 to 210 on my bench, and I'm gonna need 370-ish probably on my deadlift. So I'm gonna need to have a pretty good day. I'm gonna need to have to push pretty hard to ensure that I get this world spot, but I'm growing increasingly more confident that I can and that I can do it. So I'm pretty excited about Westerns. I think it's going to be a really good meet. I know there's a number of other sort of like head-to-head matchups that'll be happening there, and I'll be around kind of the whole time. You know, I get in on the Thursday, and I don't leave till the Monday, so I'll be there for the banquet and everything. And yeah, I'm stoked. The Stins always put on a really, really good meet, and I'm looking forward to it. We now have our question of the day, and the way this works is if you ask a question using the word of the day, which will happen at some point in this video, and we choose your question because it's a good question, we want to answer it and make a little sort of video segment about it, then we'll reach out to you, or you reach out to us rather, and we'll hook you up. We'll shoot you a gift certificate for a t-shirt or a free month of the app, your choice. So what do we got for question of the day, Dill?
The question comes from ishigh177, and they ask, I wonder how a process of your trainee looks like from start to finish. What is your approach to making a good relationship with new clients, and how do you set things up the best way possible for the long term?
So that's a really broad question, right? Because it's kind of like, well, how do you coach? And there's a lot of concepts and things that fall under that umbrella. The first thing that I try to do is, you know, we have an intake meeting. So we have an intake form when you apply for coaching through Calgary Barbell to work with myself or one of our other fantastic coaches. And we take a lot of information from you. When we have the intake meeting, we go over a lot of that information. So we're asking questions, we're trying to figure out the context that this sort of lifter is in right now. You know, are they injured? Are they making a lot of progress? Are they feeling stagnant? Getting a sense for a lifter's sort of subjective take on their own training, as well as one of the things that I've started doing in my intake and really trying to hone in on is what are things that have gone well in coaching relationships for you in the past, and what are things that have not gone well in coaching relationships in the past. Because I feel like if lifters have specific issues with a coach or with a coaching relationship or programming or whatever, and it doesn't always have to be personal, it could be a programming methodology kind of thing, then I want to make sure that I'm able to, right out of the gate, to cover that base for that person, so they know that I'm going to step up and that I'm going to do what it is that they feel like they need. And, you know, conversely, if they have things that they've really gotten a lot out of with previous coaches before, things that their coach did that gave them a boost in buy-in or confidence or, you know, motivation to train or anything like that, then obviously I want to mirror those things. I want to be able to provide those for that person. So, you know, there's obviously a pretty heavy personal touch. We do check-ins every week for our comprehensive clients. We answer questions. We try to offer motivation where we can, and feedback and adjust technique. And I think one of the biggest things with, you know, the majority of clients I've taken in for some time now, the biggest issue that people have a lot of the times is just not getting responses. Just not getting responses, or not getting their programming on time, or, you know, any of those kind of very, very basic things. So I think what that's allowed me to do is just to really, really make sure that no matter what, the basics are covered. You know, we're getting check-ins done on time. We're getting programming to people when we say we're going to. And if for some reason there's a lapse in any of those things, people are getting notice and they're getting, you know, a workout, or I'm sending 2 weeks ahead of time because I know I'm not going to be working the next weekend. Things like that. Just like, honest to God, like basic workflow stuff. But I think understanding your clients, and maybe the biggest sort of umbrella that this all falls under is proper individualization. Being open to modifying your training and programming methods to suit the individual lifter. I have lifters who do very, very low volume, low frequency, maybe even low specificity. I have a lifter who deadlifts 6 times a week. It is an evolution of an individual process and a lot of collaboration, which is another thing I think a lot of lifters mention that was an issue with past coaching relationships, was they felt like they weren't listened to. They felt like they weren't part of the process. You know, they'd ask for some sort of modification because of an injury. They get the programming the next week and it's the same thing. So individualization, listening to your clients, And, not just like hearing them and moving on and doing whatever you were going to do anyways, but actually listening to them and modifying the program, trying to make people feel like they're part of the process. And yeah, just really, playing into those things. I've been verbose enough. That's not the word of the day. I think we used that one already. The word of the day is axiomatic. I'm not even going to try to use it in a sentence because Dylan just flashed it to me on his phone and I don't really know what it means. So there you go, word of the day. That being said, if you're interested in working with a good coach who's going to get you programming on time, who's going to do a good job of programming, who's open to individualizing the process, who gives a shit about you as a lifter and as a person, check out calgarybarbell.com. We have a team of fantastic coaches who I've handpicked. So if you watch this stuff and you think, hey, I bet that guy's a good coach, I have 100% faith in every single coach that works for Calgary Barbell. We haven't hired a lot of coaches. We haven't lost a lot of coaches. It's because we have a very specific and particular process by which somebody becomes a coach with us. I'm very picky about who is, out there representing Calgary Barbell. So if you think that you want to trust your training and programming to somebody, you want to take things to the next level, hit us up. That being said, if you liked it, questions of the day, comments, questions, whatever, below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.